Color Outside the Box is a podcast series that focuses on creating a better you. Whether it's advice about family, relationships, raising children in this technological world, marriage, or careers, we seek to find the answers to help you live your best life. So start your Monday morning off right with me, your hostess with the mostest, Princess Miller, on Color Outside the Box right here on iTunes and everywhere podcasts can be heard. Well, good Monday morning, and thank you for tuning in to the Color Outside the Box podcast. I'm your hostess, Princess Miller, and we are back in the studio with Miss Ivie Bush of Rightway Christian Daycare. Good morning, Miss Ivie. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm blessed. All
right. You sound like you are all energized and ready to talk about taking care of babies today.
I am. My favorite subject.
Well, Miss Ivie Bush is the owner of Rightway Christian Daycare here in Mobile, Alabama. She's been in business for 17 years. And Miss Ivie, she has a home daycare, but she does remarkable work with babies and getting them prepared for school. And so today last week we talked about taking care of toddlers. And today we're going to talk about taking care of babies. Because, with first-time parents, it's a lot of information out there that people don't tell you about, and so we're going to talk about some of those issues today. So let's kick this off talking about taking care of or trying to soothe a crying baby. How do you soothe a crying baby?
Okay, well, first just let me say, once again, especially if they're a new parent, this is your first baby, and being in childcare, you do get a lot of first-time parents that, they're still learning. They're new. They're learning. So, once again, I ask a lot of questions. What did you do on your 6 to 12 weeks off with your newborn baby? Did you hold them a lot? Did you allow them to cry a lot? Or, what did you do to soothe them? Or what is it that you have found that works for them, that soothes them? Or, what do they like? And so those are different questions to ask when you have a new baby coming in. And you have some first-time parents that just don't know what to do, but just to hold them. So basically what I do when they come to me, once again, it's always a discussion with the parents and what I do. And with my babies, I've heard my parents tell me a lot, you spoil them. But can you really spoil a baby? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I've had parents that say, you can't spoil a baby. You can. Babies are really smart. Children altogether are really smart, and it starts at birth. It's all in about what they get accustomed to or what they're used to. So if you spend your maternity leave just holding them and gazing in their eyes all day, that's what they're going to expect. Because that's what you pretty much train them to do. Well, when they come to me, I have to let them know up front. I will love on them. They get their one-on-one time with me. However, I do have other children I do have to care for. So as long as they have been fed, clean diaper, they have had their love time with me, their bonding time, as I like to call it, with me, then you're okay in the swing for a little bit. And I always tell the parents, I let them exercise. They can exercise those little lungs. It's okay, because we want them strengthened. So it's okay to let them cry a little bit. But one of the ways that I like to soothe my babies, if you have a baby, sometime in the first few months, you may have some that may deal with like acid reflux, or they haven't gotten used to their new milk. Sometimes I get babies that they're still in between milks because you haven't found that right milk. So you got to know, really try to find out what's going on with them. Is it because they have a tummy ache? Then I can't let you sit up and just cry because there's something else going on with you. And most of the time when they cry, that's their way of communicating. They're letting you know that something is wrong, whether they want to be held, And the majority of the time, that's what they want. Or whether it's time to feed them, or they just want to feel a warm body. So you have to kind of know. If you have that time, like, pick them up and give them a little love for a little bit. You don't have to sit up and hold them for hours and hours. Get them a little loving, soothe them, calm them down a little bit.
So you, when you say soothe them, are you talking about rubbing their back?
Rubbing their backs. You have to figure out what works for each baby. All the time, I tell a lot of people that when I prefer, now, do not get me wrong, I will take them at any age. I really love to get them from birth. Because that way, a lot of them are used to me. They get used to me, and I kind of already can kind of help raise them to, to do what they should be doing and learning and things of that nature. So I like to get them when they're babies, but you have to know what's going on with each baby, because each one of them needs something different. You have some that are nursed. And what I've found between my nursed babies and my bottle-fed babies is that nursed babies are a little bit more clingy. Because they're used to being in their mother's arms. So, whereas with my bottle babies, they want love, but they're not as needy as my nursed babies. So with my nursed babies, they need a little bit more. So you just kind of pretty much know what to do with each child. Each child is an individual that needs different things. So there's different ways to soothe them, whether it's rubbing their backs or whether it's rubbing their tummies, because if they're known for having like a little tummy ache or whatever, then rub their bellies, if that helps. Or pat their little bottoms when they're, having tummy time. They love that. So it's just different ways to soothe them.
Okay. So you brought up something that was really good. You talked about babies cry for different reasons. And
right.
So how do you know which cry is, hey, I just want you to be here, versus, hey, my tummy hurts?
Well, once again, that's a conversation that you have with the parents, and sometimes the parents don't know. I've had parents that be like, oh, they just cry every day, all the time. My whole 6 weeks I've been off, they just been crying. I can't figure it out. But then once they get to me, and I don't want to say like I just know everything, but when you've been in this business long enough and you work with so many different babies and children, you kind of just know. Sometimes I mess with the parents and I say, well, I just have to touch, because most of the time once again, even as babies, what they do with you, because they're smart. They know you're mommy. So that's my mommy. I want you to pick me up. Versus, they may want me to pick them up, but they may not want me as often because they want mommy. So when it comes to the children and knowing the difference, that's a conversation you have with the parents where, okay, so have you taken them to the pediatrician? What's going on with them? Even during the 6 or 12 weeks you was home, what were some of the things that their doctors were saying? Do they have acid reflux? Do they have an issue with bowel movements? So that's a conversation that you have to have with the parents. Or if they haven't taken them in for that, then you let them know, hey, because as a early childhood teacher, you can't really give them medical advice per se. You can kind of just let them know what you think is going on with them, and just have them to take them in and see the pediatrician.
Yeah, follow up with the pediatrician. You brought up another great point, and I think there's something that needs to be talked about is when do a parent know that the milk that they're giving their child is maybe not benefiting their child? And I'm gonna give you a case in point. I remember with my first child, when you have a baby, they send you home with Infamil.
The cheapest milk first.
Oh, okay. Didn't even think about that.
It's the cheapest milk.
Okay, so they sent him home with Infamil, and I can hear the milk hitting the bottom of his stomach. And, a few minutes later, it's coming back out of him. And it took us, maybe we went from Enfamil to Similac with iron, lactose-free Similac, and soy milk. And I think we ended up ultimately staying with soy. Mm-hmm. But it took us trying to find that milk that, will stay in his tummy and not give him diarrhea or gas or, make him feel uncomfortable. What are some signs that parents may need to, change their baby's milk?
Well, once again, that's really, with the babies, I guess that's why, another reason why they are so big on you nursing. Mm-hmm. But even some of them that get nursed, if the parent doesn't have a good diet, because they may eat something that can irritate, the baby's belly or whatever. When they're newborns, it's kind of like, I kind of, refer them to like new cars. Mm-hmm. A new car comes out, they haven't worked out all the kinks. There's some recalls on those new cars already. So even with a new baby, there may be some things that you don't know. It's the first few months and you're still kind of working out the kinks. What works for them and what doesn't. So you kind of, it's like hit and miss. Sometimes I'm not a pediatrician, but I've dealt with a lot of children with different issues and I've learned a lot. I like to read up a lot on different things that go on with the children. Try to stay up on what's new and what's new out or whatever. So well, let's take a break right here. We'll be right back. We're going to take a commercial break and be right back. And we're going to talk about more about taking care of babies on the Color Outside the Box podcast. Stay tuned.
What's up, everybody? Trey here to tell you about one of the best gym experiences in Mobile, Embrace Fitness Training Center. Embrace Fitness is more than just a gym. We offer personal training, speed and agility training, golf simulator, golf fitness, boot camp classes, child care, and even powerlifting. We're open Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. We love families, and kids are welcome. At Embrace Fitness, we believe that a family that works out together will stay together and live healthier and happier lives. So embrace the new you. We're located on Airport Boulevard near Cody Road. Try Embrace Fitness Training Center today. Your first visit is on me.
Princess Creative Productions can provide affordable and professional video services for small to mid-sized businesses. Our in-studio virtual set shoots start as low as $200. Let our expert get to work on your next video project. Call 251-421-4490 to book your next shoot.
And we're back on the Color Outside the Box podcast with your hostess, Princess Miller. And we are back with Miss Ivie Bush. And we were talking about, before we went to break, noticing issues with babies' milks and when to take them to the doctor. And so I wanted to switch and start talking about feeding basics because, a lot of times, we've gotten misinformation when it comes to the babies. They could be 1 month old, 2 month old. That baby ain't sleeping through the night. Give him a little cereal in his bottle. Get that baby some potluck and some cornbread. So let's talk about that. First, talk to us about how often a baby should feed.
Well, when it comes to the babies, I believe the time frame for newborns is between 2 to 3 hours. Once again, that's a question you always want to ask your parent when they're coming in. How often do they feed? On a 8-hour day, most of my newborns may drink about 3 bottles on an average. 3 to 4 bottles on an average of a day. Of a 10-hour day, because I'm on for about 11 hours. But majority of them are there for about 9 hours. So they may do about 3 bottles, which means they feed on about every 3 hours. Now, you may have some that feed every couple of hours. So that's something you just want to watch. You don't want them to get too full where their belly start hurting a little bit. But most of the time, 2 to 3 hours is pretty good timing.
Okay. And so when should you introduce cereal?
Well, when it comes to cereal, and so much has changed now because even for my oldest, which is 12 now,